Good day, everybody. Welcome, and thank you so much for spending this time with me. As promised, this Wednesday, I'm going to be sharing with you about the conversation I promised I would be delivering, which is about the first time I get to say I am wrong or I was wrong on camera. And I'm going to be talking about a topic, a biblical topic, a theological perspective that I've held for such a long time. Me and many peers of mine have held this particular theological position for a long time. And recently, in my own studies of the word, I started to realize I was wrong. This is something that we were taught growing up, and now I get to confront that and say, wait a minute, we were out of line. And it's going to be a very interesting one, and I invite you to be part of our next talk in just 2 days, just from today. And I think that it's going to be a blessing to you. And it's going to be very difficult for me, but I know it's going to be worthwhile to listen to as well. Today, I want to have a bit of a chat with you as we start the week, and I want to have a little conversation that's going to just shape our idea or understanding of the world. This weekend has been particularly very brutal for me, and I've had to endure on TikTok, I've had to endure quite a lot of personal, very, very personal attacks and things that were spoken against my name, against my credibility, against my ministry. And this thing was turned into, I have never seen things turn into what they're not in such a short period of time. And they escalated so badly, out of control. And out of that, the same moment when I'm dealing with this crisis on social media, responding to comments and all that stuff, I started to realize that I'm becoming who I am not. I was getting angry and agitated, and I was responding in an angry and agitated way because people were accusing me of something I have never done or ever thought about or ever become in my life, as if these people know you. It's like they grew up with you and they are speaking as if they know you. And so what I had to do then, I learned to take a step back. And as I was home, yesterday, something very interesting happened. A person came to visit me, and they came to visit me with a scandal, another pastor's scandal. And they said to me, can you look up this information for me? And so we logged in, we started checking out the information, and it turns out this particular man of God was arrested because of attempted rape. He tried to rape some lady, and now people had stormed out of the church. There was so much drama going on, and there was a mess going on, and people were upset, people were angry, people didn't want to go back to the church, and he was arrested and then out on bail, and there's so much conversations about this. There are YouTube videos out about this person and the circumstances of this, right? And I started to think to myself, one of the biggest crises that we have is that we don't have a lot of men that exist in the space called honor. Honor. I think honor is an incredible word. I can say this with absolute certainty. I've been married now for 8 years. I have not looked twice at another woman. I have not had any intention to be with another woman. I have not had an inappropriate conversation with another woman. I have not tried, or man or person, let me say person, I have not attempted to have any other unnecessary interaction or ungodly interaction with any person in the world apart from my wife. And I've made sure that in the time that I'm in this ministry and the work that I'm doing, there's not a mark against my ministry. There's not a mark against my name. And this is what made this week hectic. It's what made this week so draining, because having to prove your character to people who were accusing you of something so awful, something so terrible, because of a poor understanding of concepts, of statistics, of information, it's difficult. I had a call with my friend today who said to me, people don't want the truth. And if you speak the truth, you offend people. It defeats the purpose of what you're supposed to do. So there are certain truths that you must speak carefully, or maybe you're not the person to speak about that at all. I fundamentally struggle with the idea that I cannot talk about dysfunction in the realm of women, because then it affects certain people and they get offended in a certain type of way. And so maybe I need to find a woman to talk about female issues, because maybe then it will be received better. Or I cannot talk about the LGBTQ, or I cannot talk about certain issues because then it offends that community. And so maybe I should find people in that community to speak about it, because to me, it means that I am being managed. It means that I'm not being allowed to speak truth. And that's what this is about. This is what this platform is about. But beyond false accusations and allegations and confrontations that happen in the world, the most important thing to me is the spirit of honor. And I think that the conversation that I had with this person yesterday struck me because I realized not a lot of people can say so. They can't say, I have no mark against my life. They can say, you can do a background check in how I manage my finances, and I'm not worried about that. Because I remember a lot of Americans came to this specific comment by this person, and they said, we should get the FBI to check you out. We should get people to check out your home situation. We should get people to do all of this, because what I said was so radical, it offended them. It offended them so deeply that their intention, their mindset could not fathom that you would say that something has to be wrong with you. You have to be an aggressor. You have to be violent. You have to be all of that. Is your wife okay? Does your wife know that you're posting this? And I'm sitting next to her, and these are conversations I've had with her. And this spiraled out of control. And I had to remind myself that the biggest challenge with this, and I couldn't even sleep. Like I haven't properly slept. I went to sleep I think around 9 p.m. and I woke up around midnight. So I've had 3 hours of sleep today, where I was sitting there wondering why would this kind of talk come up in this juncture of my life and in this juncture of my ministry. But most importantly, I believe, and I know this, I am at peace with God and with man. There is no debt. There is no relationship in my life that I have that leaves me compromised in any way. I have made it a rule never to get in my car to drive to see a woman alone in any certain place. I've made it in my life to build walls around how I protect my children and how I protect my name and how I protect my integrity. I've made it a point to make my home a happy home. And for that reason, in my mind, I'm thinking, because I am an honorable man, the world will treat us in such a way. But the challenge is, this person who then comes with this news about this man of God who has been found in what would be a compromising discussion, whether it's true or not, whether he did attempt to physically assault, sexually assault this woman or not, whether that information is true or not, what happens to us in the space of honor? What needs to happen is that men of God need to get to a point where we are above reproach, where conversations don't entail us in those things anymore, where we are not seen in certain places anymore, where certain things are not spoken, and unfortunately I can't do anything about how people receive a message. That's fair, but at the same time, there should not be fires around your life, right? There should not be fires around your life. And we can muse over these thoughts and we can talk about it. But because Jesus also sadly was controversial, right? Jesus was controversial in many senses, but it wasn't controversy in the sense of how people perceived him, to say, no, he sat with prostitutes and all that stuff. He didn't occasionally. He sat with a prostitute once. And so a whole line of talk comes out of that against his name. And so even the people of his time could say, are you serious? You follow that guy? Did you not see that guy sitting with prostitutes the other day? You know, what kind of man is that? But also, there's honor. How do we navigate honor in this world? And even though we exhort and encourage people to stand in a space of honor, honor is around the word weight. The word honor means to understand the weight of something. It means gravitas. It means if it is to be tested, it must have a weight on it. And so I would think, to a certain extent, I want people to handle my name with weight. I want people to handle my ministry with weight. I want people to handle my family with weight. There are certain things we don't touch. Even in the social media streets, even in our aggression towards each other, in our disagreements, people don't touch people's families, right? But these things affect our homes, they affect our marriages, they affect our children, they affect our name and our reputation. And the funniest thing about the barrage that happened this past weekend was they kept coming and saying, oh, you do Christian content. That makes sense. It's like Christians are liars, Christians are fake, Christians are the worst kind of people, and they use the Bible to justify that. I don't want to talk about the community of many colors and letters, okay? That community particularly came after me this past week. I did not understand it. These people are bullies, right? They are bullies. Because the amount of attacks that came just from that one community. And I look, like I'm a fighter, right? I'm aggressive. I don't mind. I'll stand up for myself because I don't consider myself an ignorant person. And I've avoided direct confrontation with that community. But after this week, I felt like, gloves are off. And I took a call from my friend today, and they said to me, don't lose track of your mission. Don't lose track of your assignment. You can't be involved in social media fights with strangers. And what a stranger thinks about you doesn't matter. And this will blow over in a couple of weeks anyway. So let it go. It's not an issue. And so I deleted all the posts. I deleted all the responses I had done to it, because I started realizing I'm becoming what I'm not. Honor means maintaining the weight of something. It means that acknowledging that something is valuable. The value of gold is in its weight. The value of food is in its weight. The value of everything is in its weight. And sometimes we are busy counting, right? We are busy counting instead of weighing. Sometimes we want to be counted. We want to build big churches, but we don't want to weigh the value of the people that we have. Sometimes we want to build big platforms, but we don't want to weigh the value of our platforms. We want to build big names, but we don't want to weigh the value of that. I want to remind you, and this is not for pastors, this is not for business people or creatives or visionaries or these high-end people. This is for every single Christian in the world. When I look at your life, if I examine your life and I talk about you, especially with people that know you, right? Would they appreciate the weight of your life? Would they look at you and say, there's weight behind this person, behind his name, behind his reputation? Would they say this woman is a valuable member of this community? Would they say there's no mark against your life? I want to live the kind of life where I'm going to turn 80 and there's no mark against my life. And even after I die and I'm long gone, people will not come up and say, oh, that guy, you did not know anything about that guy. A couple of years ago, I went to, I was at a conference in Zimbabwe, and one of the most popular Christian musicians of the, early 2000s, right? He's starting to come back up now. He was involved in a lot of drama in his career recently, and then he got remarried, and now he's making music. I don't want to say, for anybody that knows, you already know who I'm talking about. He has basically made the most church anthems. I don't think anybody has made as much church anthems as this person. And I remember when I went there to attend this conference and to hear him, they told me, never meet him. They told me, never meet this guy. He has the worst character you have ever seen in your life. And everybody, all the musicians that were there, everybody that shook his hand and greeted him and met him said the same thing. He is not as advertised. I don't want people to ever say, I'm proud, or I'm arrogant, or I'm all of this, or I'm hateful. I think at the end of the day, it must come to a point where people say he was true to his character. I must actually repent. I must repent, because what happened this past week resulted in a certain sense of dishonor. It resulted in a certain sense where I ended up stooping myself to the level of these people, and I began to act out of character. And the worst part is you never win. My friend reminded me today that guidance, even though you retort, even though you respond, even if your answers are good or accurate or true, you will never actually win this one. It's a zero-sum game. Your answer will always be zero. Your math will still come back to you failing. You're going to lose people in this, and it's not worth it. And so I deleted my posts in a crazy, ridiculous amount of humility on my part. Because like I said, every bone in my body is saying fight, because I'm not the flee type of person. I'm a fight type of person. So every instinct in me, every urge in me was saying, get up and defend your name. And I finally now understand why David put this implication or this statement where, and my mother shares this a lot. I talk a lot about my mother, where David says, vindicate for me, O Lord. It's easy for a king. I mean, come on, David was a king. He had resources. He could have gotten up and just fought everybody and killed everybody that didn't agree with him. But honor says, vindicate for me. It's not my place to defend my honor. You can defend my honor. And as hard as that is, I think I'm going to definitely do that. And I want to encourage you as well to be people of honor. Let us become people of honor. Let us become above reproach. Let the social media streets, let what we comment, let what we speak. I delete. I don't like negativity. And so when people comment, even here on YouTube, I just delete a comment because it's not worth me responding in anger. And sometimes, yes, I clap back, and it's great to clap back, and I feel great about myself. But then I'm thinking, did I win that one? And so honor in whatever sense. Be honorable at your job. Be honorable with money. Be honorable in your relationships. Be honorable in every space that you are in. Be honorable in your conversation. Be honorable in your conduct. With other Christians, be honorable. There's nothing that matters more than the spirit of honor. And I think now more than ever, because I realized the fight I fought this weekend was not about guidance. It was about Christians. This is what you guys do. This is what's wrong with you. And suddenly, this fight was not about me. It was about my community. So I wasn't just being fought as an individual, as a father, and without just my name and my reputation and my ministry. They literally translated that to, you are a Christian. We knew that. We saw that coming. And that kind of shook me. Can we be better representatives of God? I must say, for the first time in my life, I failed this assignment. I don't know if I succeeded. I definitely failed this assignment because I responded. For a long time, I was just responding because that's what was on my heart, until this good friend then called me and said, dude, let it go. Be at peace. And that's where I am right now. So I encourage you to be a person of honor.